If I'm not overthinking, if I'm not dreaming, you're not listening. You are asleep, and I keep talking off the monologue, and I keep talking off the monologue, and I keep talking off the monologue, and I keep talking off the
Welcome to Off the Monologue. I'm your host, the Welsh Kid from the Block. Though, if you're family or friends, you'll know me as Erin. Have you ever felt ashamed or embarrassed of not having enough money? Well, in today's topic, if I'm correct, is the first serious topic. And this episode is something I feel like not enough people talk about. And this is something tons of people go through that we don't even realise, and that's money shame. 24 million UK adults don't feel confident in managing their own money. And when we look at this number, that is a massive amount of adults in the UK. And when you think about it, there's 60 to 70 million adults in the UK. Now, with these numbers, we want to know, why do people feel this way? While doing my research, I have found out that many people may not be able to handle their money or have money shame, all because of their health or even mental health. What is money shame? Money shame is when someone is feeling ashamed or embarrassed of their financial situation. In the world, there are hundreds, millions, likely billions of people who are suffering with money shame right now. And it has only gotten worse since the global pandemic, global COVID-19, sorry. To understand this better, I have decided to do a survey and send it out to people I know or on my Instagram to get a better understanding of their views and opinions on this topic, but also to see if people are actually educated on money shame, as I feel like money shame isn't talked about enough, but also people aren't educated and it's not talked about not only online but in person. And I want to start the conversation even if I haven't been through money shame myself. Here are the results. From each question in total, there were 8 to 9 questions. We had 11 people answer the survey, and here's what they said. For the first question, do you know what money shame is? 7 people said that they don't know what it is. Wow, 4 people said yes. This tells us that we need to start talking about the topic more and start educating ourselves and others about it. The second question was, have you ever heard of money shame? I asked this because even if they don't know what the term is, they might have heard it of friends or family or even on social media. 6 people said no, they have never heard of it before, while 5 people said yes. they have heard about it. Then after I asked that, then I thought, you know what, I'll ask the fact that I started this episode with. And that is, did you know 27 million adults in the UK have money shame? I asked this as I had a feeling no one would have heard this or even thought about it before. The results were all 11 of respondents said they don't know the fact, and I'm going to be honest, even myself, I didn't know the facts before I done my research. After that, I asked, how would you describe money shame in your own words? For this question, we had many different answers that are currently on screen now, and as we can see, we all interpret this really differently, and it's okay that some of us don't know, as this is what this episode is about. Furthermore, I asked, do you think money shame is different to financial stress? We had 6 people say no and 5 people to say yes. Then following the question, for the people who said yes, I asked why. The answer we had is on screen now, and personally I have to agree, as people in this situation are probably stressing about how will they pay bills, but also feel ashamed they're in this situation to begin with. Then, I thought to ask something close to people's age group, but without asking what people's age group actually is. And that is, how common do you think money shame is amongst your age group? I gave them 5 options for this, and that would be very common, somewhat common, rare, not sure, or other. I had 5 people go for somewhat common, 3 very common, and 2 people saying rare. But 1 person said not sure, which is very understandable. We can see the most common answer amongst people who have taken the survey was somewhat common, which possibly could be teenagers into young adults. After this, I decided to ask the question, do you think social media contributes to money shame? I ask this because, at the moment, there is a massive rise in mystery bags or having the latest thing on social media, from a mystery dumpling to a Labubu. 10 people said yes. They think social media has to do with it. Well, 1 person said no. But I perfectly agree with the 10 people. Then, the last question I asked was, where do you think people first learn shame-related beliefs about money? I asked this question because many people tend to pick up habits from people they're close with or even social media telling them. I gave a few options for this question, and they were family, school, friends, social media, society/culture, or other. We had a mix of answers for this, as you can see on screen. And I'm going to be honest with you, I don't think there is a wrong answer for this question, as I feel all these answers has an impact in one way or another. But enough about answers and what we gathered from this is that money shame is not talked about enough and people aren't educated about it. So let's, in this episode, dig in a bit deeper and let's get to the bottom and see what actually money shame is. When we have a look at who suffers with money shame, there is one generation that stands straight away. When researching this, which generation? And that is us, Gen Z, close with younger millennials. But why? Well, that's quite easy to answer. Look at everything that is happening at the moment. The cost of living has skyrocketed. If we go to uni, we're in massive debt. And we compare ourselves to strangers online, who most fake it until they make it. Is there support for financial problems or money shame? Yes, there is. There is always support for everything. Always reach out to someone. I know it's hard and something you want to keep private, but money shame isn't something you have to carry in secret on your own. In the description of this episode, there is some helplines for you guys to reach out if you have money shame and it's affecting your health as it can. You're not alone. And I really want to remind anyone listening that money shame is far more common than people may think. In the UK, money worries and mental health are often closely linked. The NHS explains that financial stress can lead to anxiety, low mood, sleep problems, and feelings of guilt and shame. It can also work the other way around, where poor mental health can make it harder to manage money, open bills, or ask for help. This is why it is so important that we start talking about it more openly. If you're struggling, there are places that you can get help and support you without judgment. For money advice and budgeting support, organisations like Step Change, Citizens Advice, and Money Helper offer free and confidential help with debt, budgeting, bills, and financial planning. They can help you create a budget, work out repayments, and understand what support you may be entitled to. If your money worries are affecting your mental health, support is available through the NHS, Mind, and Samaritans. The NHS states that money worries can have a major impact on well-being, but there is the support available for anyone who needs someone to talk to. Samaritans are available 24/7, 24 hours a day on 116 123. And if speaking on the phone feels difficult, you can also text SHOUT on 85285 for confidential support at any time. Please remember that asking for help is not weakness, and it is never something to be ashamed of. Everyone's situation is different, and sometimes life, the cost of living, health, education, or unexpected circumstances can all have an impact on finances. Your current financial situation does not define you, who you are as a person, and it definitely does not define your future. Things can improve, and support is always there for you. And just to show how common this really is, the NHS says that money worries can affect, like I said, mental health in many different ways, from stress and anxiety to low self-esteem and sleep problems. They also explain that mental health struggles can make it harder to open bills, budget, or even ask for help, which all this, like we already covered, can create a difficult cycle for many people. This shows us that money shame is not just about money itself, but it can also affect every part of someone's daily life. Please remember that your worth is never measured by how much money you have. Your bank balance does not define your value, your success, or who you are as a person. Everyone moves through life at a different pace, and struggling financially does not mean you are behind. I also think social media can make people feel pressured in ways that we might not even realize at first. Sometimes it is not even the big luxury things like Gucci and Louis Vuitton. It can also be the smaller everyday trends that start to add up, whether it's the latest makeup, new clothes every week, going out every weekend, collecting viral items, or even keeping up with what everyone else is doing. It creates this constant pressure to spend. For teenagers and young adults especially, there is often this feeling that if everyone else has something, then you need it just to fit in. That pressure can lead people to spend money they may not really have, and afterwards, that can create feelings of regret, guilt, or embarrassment. And that is where money shame can become even worse. I also think comparison plays a massive role. People often compare their own behind the scenes lives to someone else's highlight reel. You might be sitting at home worrying about bills, trying to save, or feeling stressed about money, while online it looks like everyone else is living this perfect life. But the reality is, we never fully know what is going on behind the screen. Some people may be using credit, loans, or support from family, and others may be simply choosing to show only the good parts. So it is really important to remind ourselves that social media is not always reality. Not having the latest thing or not living the same lifestyle as someone online does not mean you are failing. It simply means your journey is different. Before we end this episode, if you want to be part of one of these episodes or take part in a survey like we've done in this episode, then follow me over on Instagram at the Welsh Kid from the Block. Or if you want to be a co-host or interviewed, then on an episode of Off the Monologue, then please email me at thewelshkidfromtheblock@gmail.com. I'd love to know your thoughts on this. Do you think money shame is talked about enough? And do you think social media has made it worse for our generation? Let me know over on Instagram because I really want this conversation to continue. This has been Off the Monologue. I'll catch you in the next one.
If I'm not overthinking